Good day, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're going to be discussing and reviewing the Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode 2. I'll discuss the Easter eggs and all the comic related stuff for certain things that happen. So, yeah, spoiler warning, of course, if you didn't see it. If you see me looking down during this, that's because I'm watching my notes because there's a lot to cover. So I'll try to do that and cover as much as possible in a shorter time period. So let's begin. So the episode starts off and we see John Walker walking through what seems to be a locker room then. And it seems that it's his old school and his old locker room because he takes off the old tag and it has JW and a number. So of course John Walker. And we see he has this suit hanging from the locker. We then see a lady come into the room and it seems, I would assume, I don't know if it's his wife, but it's a lady from his past and from the school, and she's talking to him and basically giving him a pep talk to do it. Um, then she leaves and his other friend comes in now, Lamar Hoskins, and he also gives him a pep talk and they unzip the suit um, from inside the thing that has it, and we see just a piece of the suit. Next, we cut to the field and we see a big celebration going on a football field, and we see a band performing, and there's a big A and a star, of course, for Captain America because he's the new Captain America. And he runs out on the field during the celebration and he goes up on the stage and he's like, "Good morning, America," because he was practicing that two lines the whole time inside. We see there's a lady there, and basically, this is a sit down interview, and she begins to ask him questions about being Captain America, and he says that he's just trying to do the right thing, basically, and be the best that he could be. Uh, he's being humble at first, and she's like, she calls out his accolades, being he has 3 medals for certain things. Uh, he's a good war hero, basically. He's on paper, he's like the perfect candidate for Captain America then, as a soldier. So before we move on now, this is where it ends for the interview part. So let's discuss John Walker now from the comics while we're here, because this was basically his official introduction. Um, in the comics, John Walker is, of course, a U.S. agent. He was Captain America as well in different storylines. Um, in the comics, he has a diluted version of the Super Soldier Serum, which Captain America has. Here we see he doesn't have that, or at least yet. Um, but yeah, he also has the shield, of course. In the comics, his suit isn't blue and red. It's black and red, but it's similar. So I'll have pictures up on the screen, of course, for you to see. Um, but he has taken up the mantle of Captain America before as well, and he has also used the original Captain America suit as well in the comics, like similar to this. Um, so yeah, in the comics, he was of course still a war hero, but he got his power, I believe, from, well, the serum, that is from, is it the Power Broker? I think in the comics. Yeah, but the comics was a bit different because he started off being kind of like an anti-hero, kind of bad guy-ish, and then he became more of a good guy because he was trying to upstage Cap. So he would stage his own little crimes and then with his friends and then go to save the people. So yeah, that's the difference here. But other than that, the same army backstory and whatever is the same basically. So yeah, that is that on John Walker for now at least. When we get more information on him in these episodes, I'll do more in-depth discussion about him. But yeah, after the interview, we see Bucky on the ground sitting in his apartment with no chairs or anything, watching the TV, and he's watching the interview and he looks sad. We then cut to Sam. We see Sam walking through an airbase and he notices the poster on the wall, Cap is back, and he's just like kind of upset. And Bucky is there, and Bucky meets Sam, and they begin talking. Of course, Bucky is mad. Sam gave up the shield just like Rhodey didn't want him to from the last episode. So we get that. Uh, the discussion between that, and then they have the discussion from the trailer then where Bucky and Sam are speaking, and Sam tells him he has to go after the Flag Smashers, and he shows him a picture of the Flag Smashers, and Bucky asks him if he well, Bucky says he's going to help him, and Sam mentions the big tree, and if the Flag Smashers may be part of the big tree being androids, aliens, and wizards. Of course, android in reference to Age of Ultron, aliens, the Chitarian, Thanos, and wizards, probably Caecilius and Dormammu from Doctor Strange. So references to that. Bucky says that Doctor Strange isn't a wizard; he's a sorcerer. And Sam says he wizard is just a sorcerer is a wizard just without a hat. So there's some back and forth there, and Bucky asks him if they're going to fight Gandalf, I believe, and Sam asks him like, "What you know about Gandalf?" And basically Bucky is like, I read that when it came out in 1937. So yeah, we then cut to them in the carrier now in the sky, and this is our next reference to Avengers 1 when they had Loki in the carrier and Thor showed up and took him and left. Remember, Cap asked Iron Man what his plan was, and Iron Man said, I had a plan. I have a plan. It's attack, and he just jumps out the carrier and flies to them. And then Cap jumps out behind him without a parachute, so this mirrors that. Because Falcon says he has a plan. He doesn't tell Bucky the plan, and he just jumps out. And Bucky then pulls off the sleeve from his arm, and he jumps out as well. Because he asks for a parachute, and the man is like, we're at 200 feet, that's too low for a parachute. So Bucky jumps out without the parachute and hits the ground basically. Um, and Sam says he caught all of that on camera. So yeah, we're gonna clown him basically. We then cut to them and we see they're inside the building now where the Flag Smashers are, and Bucky is sneaking up on them, and him and Sam still having the little back and forth as usual. And Sam was like, ooh, you're all stealthy because he was in Wakanda. What are you, the Black Panther now? And Bucky is like, no. No, he's not the Black Panther, sorry. He says, are you the White Panther now? And Bucky is like, no, the White Wolf. And Sam is shocked, because Sam doesn't have a cool nickname like Bucky. And then we see them, the two of them together again, and Bucky wants to charge him, of course, and Sam tells him that, no, we need to wait. And Bucky is like, there's only like two people, and Sam shows him a picture that Red Wing sees scanning the area, and there's like 8 people. So they wait, and then when the trucks pull off, we see Bucky running behind one of the trucks, of course. Bucky has the super soldier serum as well, so this is more of that, him using that then. So he runs, he jumps into one of the trucks, and he opens it, because before in the scanner as well, the scanner showed one person in the back, and they thought it was a hostage, but it wasn't. This girl then proceeds to kick Bucky out of the truck, and he realizes she's super powered, and they begin fighting on top of the truck, and then like 4 other people join them for a total of, well, more than 4, but at the end the total is 8 of them versus Sam and Bucky. And Bucky says that they're super powered, of course, and they begin to fight. And during the fight, the girl, we didn't get her name yet, so I'll get into that later on when we get her name. She grabs Red Wing because Sam sends it at her and she smashes it, and Bucky is like, you know how long I've wanted to do that. Sam then lands and he proceeds to throw hands as well in the fight. Him and Bucky are fighting and they're kind of losing the battle. And then we see Captain America now, or US agent, pop in, and he begins throwing the shield around and knocking people around, as well as his friend no, not Isaiah, his friend Lamar Hoskins, right? And they begin helping, and they team up, and we see Cap throwing the shield, and Bucky catches it at one point and passes it to him. And we see there's a scene where we see Lamar is being beaten up. Then they have him and he asks for help, and US agent pulls out his gun and shoots one of the guys in his shoulder. His friend is then tossed off the truck and he throws his shield to protect him from hitting the ground. And then he's kicked off onto that car. And the fight ends there basically because Bucky as well as Sam were kicked off as well because Bucky was on the ground ready to be run over by the truck and Sam saved them and they crashed into a field. So that is the end of that fight. So the bad guys get away, and then we get a next scene from the trailer, of course. And this is the scene with Sam and Bucky walking up the road, and they're having their back and forth. And he's like, "What are you thinking in that cyborg brain of yours?" You know, he could see the gears turning and stuff, and smoke coming out of his head. So this again is the next scene from the trailer. It seems that all the scenes from the trailers that we had so far were only from like episode 1 and 2. Most of the scenes, that is. So there's a lot we still haven't seen. US agent then shows up and offers Bucky and Cap a ride. They refuse at first, but then they accept the ride. And they begin speaking in the back of the van. And, you know, they're basically back and forth about John Walker being Captain America. And they ask him if he's ever thrown himself on a grenade. And he's like, yeah, he's did it before a few times with his helmet. Um, we then get Sam asking Hoskins who he is, and he's like, I'm Battlestar. Just a quick reference, Battlestar is actually someone from the comics as well. I'll drop a picture of the comic version of him on the screen so you can see it. So yeah, basically this is the discount version of Sam and Captain America, if you want to say it like that. But yeah, so eventually they have a mini fallout, that being John Walker and Battlestar with Sam and Bucky, and Sam and Bucky just leave. We then cut on, we see that the Flag Smashers have made it to a safe house, and we get their names. The leader, that is the girl, her name is Carly I don't want to butcher the name. It is Carly Morgenthau. Carly Morgenthau. I hope I pronounced that correctly. If it's wrong, my bad. And she is the leader of the Flag Smashers. Quick side note about that. In the comics, Flag Smasher is a male, and his name is Carl Morgenthau. So just quick comparison, Carl. The spelling is the same with the Karli for Carly, and then in comics it's Karl for Carl. But yeah, I'll go more into that as well when we get more info on Flag Smasher so I can compare. But a quick by the way is they are super soldiers as well. They have the serum. In the comics it was given to them by the power broker. We see her get a text saying that she stole something from someone and they're going to kill her. We also get the name drop of the power broker as well. But aside from that, I don't want to spoil anything that may happen in the future episodes. So I'll digress from speaking too much on her at the moment until we get more. So yeah, then we get a scene with Bucky and Sam going back home now, and then the air carrier again, and just more back and forth about the shield and Sam giving up the shield. Nothing too much, and Bucky decides that he's going to carry Sam to see someone. And they're walking through a neighborhood, and a kid is like, "Look, it's the Black Falcon," and Sam is like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa! It's just Falcon. Why are you calling me Black Falcon? If it's because I'm black." And the kid was like, "Well, yeah." And he's like, "What if I was to call you Black Kid?" And so a nice little thing, but it's good to see that the superheroes are interacting with the community still, and able to, well, at least Sam is able to talk to kids and be normal with them then. And we see Sam and Bucky now in front of this house, and they're here to see someone. And the person doesn't want to see anyone, of course, but Bucky says a phrase, and he's like, "Tell the person so and so from the bar is here to see them." and the person lets him in, and we get who the person is. This person, of course, is Isaiah Bradley, um, an ex comic book character. In case you don't know who this is, I'll show a picture up on the screen, of course. But in the comic books, Isaiah Bradley was known as um, the Black Captain America. And this is because uh, in the comics, they after Cap went under the ice, they tried to recreate the exact super soldier serum, but they couldn't, of course. But they tested it on African American males, 300 of them in the comics, and only Isaiah Bradley survived. And basically, he became Captain America, and they sent him in the Vietnam War, I believe, to help. And after all of that, it's just like in this episode here now, where we get him saying that after he did all that, they put him in jail and ran tests on him and all of that. So it's basically the same. They wiped him from the history books so they wouldn't know about it, and all that controversial stuff. So they keep in line with the comics basically. Um, of course, he's angry that Bucky and them are there. He basically tells them to get out, and we see he still has his powers because he throws a tin and it sticks in the wall. Uh, we then get Sam and Bucky walking back out the neighborhood, and they're arguing because Sam wants to know why no one ever told them about this. And if Cap knew about it, and Bucky says, Cap didn't know about it, and it's because this is top secret, all of that. And again, in reference to this, I believe in the comics, Isaiah Bradley was really strong. I'm not sure if he was actually stronger than Cap, but we see also when they talk that he actually broke off Bucky's arm. He mentioned earlier. Um, the next side note again is in the comics, most times U.S. agent is actually physically stronger than Cap as well, even though they have diluted formulas. So, but yeah, Falcon and Bucky are arguing, or Sam and Bucky are arguing, and some police pull up. Of course, they try to arrest Sam at first until they realize he's the Falcon. But they do end up arresting Bucky because it seems he had an appointment with his therapist and he missed it, and that is like probation. So he missed his probation, therefore he's arrested. Then cut to the jail, and someone bailed Bucky out, it seems. We see Sam waiting for him there, and the therapist comes in and she meets Sam. They introduce themselves quickly, and we see Bucky coming out of the jail cell. Um, he's released, and part of being released now is he has to have a therapy session right away, right now. And the therapist calls Sam and Bucky into the room to do it. Also, the reason Bucky was let go now is we see John Walker had a little play in this. He let them know that basically Bucky was with them on a mission, I guess, and that's why he missed it. So Bucky was let go, and we see him telling them that Bucky is an important asset. He can't be in therapy all the time. He has to be on the field with us. But now we cut to the next scene from the trailer, and we see Bucky and Sam in the room with the therapist, and they're talking. Of course, back and forth like a couple as usual. And the therapist is like, she usually only does this for couple counseling, and she makes them sit to face each other. And she makes them get close so their knees are interlocked and they're facing each other, and they turn it into a staring contest. Of course, because they're big kids. She snaps at them and tells them to stop. And we finally get um, now Bucky opening up about his feelings. And he basically says that Sam was wrong to give the shield up. And he feels that if Cap was wrong about Sam, then he would be wrong about him. So that would mean Bucky is a bad person. Um, so there's a lot of self-reflection Bucky needs to do because of course he's still healing from all the bad he did. The two then end in a little therapy session. Sam says he'd squash everything, and they go outside. And when they go outside, now we see who else but John Walker and Battlestar. What is Battlestar? Battlestar. Hoskins are waiting on them, and they have a quick back and forth as well. And the gist of this conversation is Walker wants them to join them, but Sam and Bucky say no, they're free agents and they could work a bit outside of the law as opposed to these guys who need the law and to work within the confines of the law. Also, something I forgot to mention earlier in the helicarrier scene, or in the carrier scene, before they went to meet Isaiah, um, Bucky mentions why they didn't steal the shield back, and of course, there's reference to Civil War Sam reference being on the run for the 2 years, and they became fugitives after they tried to do that. So just a quick thing that I forgot to mention, but that ties into this as well. So that's why they can't just steal the shield. However, we get a glimpse of the darker side of John Walker because he tells them, if they're not going to help me, just stay out of my way, or stay the hell out of my way. And then cut again to the Flag Smashers, and they're loading up vaccines. I say vaccines because we're not sure exactly if it's vaccines, but it seems that this terrorist group, the Flag Smashers, are trying to get supplies to areas that are not well supported by governments or whatever. That being people who came back from the blip. Um, so yeah, and in doing so and ready in their plane to leave, I believe a group comes after them, and one of them decides that he'll stay back and delay the group until the Flag Smashers get away. So he puts on his mask, he throws on a light post with electrical lines, um, and then he tries to charge in at the people and they shoot him. He's killed one time, they offload a lot of rounds into him. So he's not bulletproof. So yeah, we then get a picture of this guy here. I'm not sure who this guy is. And he makes a call and says that they got away. So I'm not sure who that is. But yeah. We next got back to Bucky and Sam, and we see them walking through the streets, and basically there's a reference. Bucky says, we have to go to my people. Sam thinks it's the white people. But basically it means that they have to go to Hydra for help or to get information, and that being Hydra. Who knows Hydra's secret is Zemo. So they're like, okay, we need to go see Zemo. We cut to Berlin. We see Zemo is in jail in Berlin, and he's playing chess, but the normal supervillain in playing chess. Um, but yeah, we see Zemo. We see he's in jail still, and they're going to meet him. They're probably going to. I'm not sure if they'll break him out, but I assume maybe break him out. And the episode basically ends there. Um, so as I said, I told you all more about Isaiah Bradley in this story. I told you all more about the Battlestar character, a little bit about him, more on US agent, Flag Smasher. There may be some spoilery things, so I didn't go too much into it because I don't want to spoil anything that may happen in the future yet. So yeah, there's also this quick image here from the comics where we see Sam and US agent fighting. So hopefully we get a scene like this in the episodes as well. But yeah, we see like I said, the difference between the two Flag Smashers. Of course, one being male, one being female. So Marvel gender bended that character. Here we see them do things like this quite often where they change some of the characters. Hela, for example, they changed her a little bit. That being with someone else from Thor, of course, no spoilers, but from Thor Ragnarok, no spoilers, but if you know, you know. So yeah, I'm hoping maybe Isaiah Bradley could throw on the suit and come back later on in a future episode, or we may get flashbacks seeing him in action. I would like to see that. His grandson is actually a young Avenger in the comics. I believe his grandson is Patriot. That's the same one who was in the episode today. So yeah, maybe we'll get him as well later on, becoming Patriot maybe in this or going forward. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you all for the next video next week for this. Again, if you like, drop a sub, drop a like, leave a comment. If I missed anything, feel free to leave it down below as well, because there was a lot going on. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed.